أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نواصل في Object Oriented Programming. في المحاضرة دي نتكلم عن ال Object is an instance of a class. ده نفس الكلام اللي احنا بديناه في المحاضرة اللي فاتت. And we said a class define all the characteristics come on the type of object. I mean, inside the class there are all the characteristics related to our object. احنا مرة فاتت قلنا if we have a queue is empty, it is a characteristics. طيب نحن هنا بنتكلم عن انه كل ال characteristics we have to put it inside the class. Also the class is used to initiate an object. This is very important. And the class with an attributes or the attributes are the characteristics. الاتريبيوتس هي الكاركترستكس بتاعت الكلاس. X, Y, Z هي عبارة عن characteristics، هي عبارة عن attributes. And also we have behavior or action object to modify X, Y, Z. To modify these attributes we call it methods, or we can call it as a behavior. Activity. What are some of the characteristics and behavior of the vehicle? Vehicle بنتكلم على عربية. الكاركترستكس بتاعتها شنو؟ والله فيها مثلا عجلة قيادة، فيها مغير سرعة، تعشيقة and so on. Then there are so many behavior also. To go forward, left, turn right, is the behavior. Actually in the class there are mainly three very special functions, very special methods. The first one is the constructor. Constructor, it is a function, it is a method, but these functions with very special characteristics. Constructor, it is used to make initializations for the object. Constructor, it's always used to make initializations. طالما في constructor there is a destructors, and the destructors actually make or destroying the object in the memory. And actually these techniques it's used for dynamic memory allocations. It's the one way to use in the dynamic memory allocations. Also we have accessor. Accessors means what? نحن إذا عرفنا variables, attributes x and y، نحن محتاجين ل function تسند قيم ل x and y، assign value to x and y. This is accessor. To display the value inside x and y, display the value of x and y, this is also accessor function. And mutators, the mutators, these are the functions that manipulate the object's value. If we need to add x to the y, if we need to multiply the value of x by 2, we are speaking about the mutators. يعني يقبل ان احنا بنتكلم تقدر تقول انه دي انواع الاتريبيوتس بتاعتنا. سوري، this is انواع الفانكشنز بتاعتنا. اما انه احنا يكون عندنا كونستراكتور يعمل لنا initialization، accessor عشان يسند قيم او يفرغ القيم من المتغيرات، and also we have mutators to manipulate the data inside the class. And this is going to be in order to achieve object-oriented designing. We are speaking about encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism. In the rest sections we are going to speak about this in little bit details. Encapsulation. Encapsulation, the main idea is to hide implementation's detail. How we can do that? This is hidden. We don't know, we don't want anyone to know. Actual encapsulation allows the programmer to view a software as a black box, and then we are dealing with this black box through the interface, whether we are speaking about accessors, whether we are speaking about mutators. And this is the idea. Block, and we have accessors. we are going to give a such kind of authority which function it is authorized to access or to achieve these attributes. Encapsulation allows the implementations to be changed without affecting the interface. Actually, we are considering very well the interface. We are not, we don't want to affect the interface, but the data is going to be manipulated. When we need to speak about inheritance, actually inheritance, there are two main or more than one class. There is the base class and there is the derived class. عندنا الكلاس الفوق بنسميه هو الكلاس البيز، وعندنا الكلاس التحت بنقوم نقول عليه هو الدرايفد كلاس. البيرنت والتشايلد، الأب والأم. طيب كويس. Actually the new class, the child class, the derived class inherits what؟ بيرث شنو؟ inherits all the attributes الداتا بتاعتنا and the behavior and implementations from the base class. Okay, that means all the components inside the base class, it is going to be allowed free to the derived class. The derived class can use all the utilities inside the base class. What if the base class, what if the derived class needs to add more? That's okay. The derived class can add new things. For example, if the derived class needs to inherit A, B, that derived class can inherit A, B, and then can add C. C, it is something new. C, it is just belong to the derived class, while A and B belong to the base class. Okay, what if the derived class need to make sub-inheritance? I mean, the derived class don't want to inherit all the contents of the base class. No problem. That means inheritance can be partially or complete. This is very important to know here, and also we need to speak about in class sometimes we have only one parent and child or childs. This is, we call it one-to-one inheritance. Sometimes we have a multiple inheritance if the child have more than one base class. I mean, one child with father and mother with two main base classes. And actually inheritance بتشبه نفس الانهيرتنس في الهيومن بين. يعني احنا عايزين الكلاس اللي احنا سميناه الدرايف ده هو إليه الحق انه هو يرث كل الصفات او كل الخصائص او كل البيهيفيرز الموجودة في البيس كلاس. الدرايف كلاس ممكن يضيف، يعني ممكن يكون عنده حاجات بتخصه هو يضيفها acceptable or can cancel. يعني انا ما عايز كل الحاجات الموجودة فوق. okay, no problem, I can drop, I can use just make a partial inheritance. Actually polymorphism it is a normal contributions from the inheritance. We cannot achieve a polymorphism without there is an inheritance. That means if you need to apply inheritance technique, first of all there must be if you need to apply polymorphism there must be an inheritance. لو نحن عايزين نطبق مفاهيم البوليمورفيزم يبقى انه نحن لابد من انه يكون عندنا inheritance. طيب polymorphism هي كلمة يونانية بتعني تعدد الأشكال أكثر من شكل. دي يمكن الترجمة الحرفية لها ويمكن هي ما بتدينا نفس المعنى. Actually in the polymorphism we need to, if there is a method in the base class and we need to use it in the derived class, okay, it is possible, but sometimes in the derived class I don't want to use this function as it is. Sometimes there is a little bit modifications in the functionality of the function. There is no problem. It is allowed. I can do that. It's only one functions that can do different job. For example, I can use a functions that calculate the area of, for example, a triangle. I can use the same functions to calculate the area of the rectangle, and so on. Only one functions, depending on the input which I pass to the function it is going to behave in different way according to my need. There is an example, so we are going to see it in the rest of the course. Here we need to speak about the procedures abstractions. In the procedure abstractions, actually we are speaking about topmost statements or the functions that represent the task to accomplish. And this is abstractions is very important in object-oriented programming. And also we have a data abstractions, and in the data abstractions the programs needs to concentrate on the data in the term of the operations that apply to those data. I mean, we are focusing on the operations to deal with this data. This is the data abstractions. Encapsulations. Again, we need to speak about the encapsulation. Encapsulations keeps related contents together. The data and how we are dealing with this data is together. When we are speaking inside the class and we need to put things together, class come with a new or with something very important. This data inside the class, it is not going to be just together. We are going to put it together. No. Data is going to be classified into different groups, into different sections inside the class. These sections, actually, we are going to put the data, as I said, the raw data. These are the characteristics of the object. These data we can set this is an attributes. Attributes inside the class either to be private or public or protected, and we are going to speak about this later on. But now just know that there is 3 sections, either private, either public or protected. Then the data, either we are going to put it in the private or public or protected. Also, we have a method to deal with this data, to do action task. These methods, as we said, these are the behaviors. Also these behaviors, also these methods, either to be private, public or protected. For sure there is a difference if we are putting something private and if we are put it public or put it protected. There is a big difference. But put in mind that attributes inside the class either to be private variables or public variables. Methods or behaviors inside the class either to be public or private behaviors or methods. Polymorphism. Actually here we are speaking about separate functions, 2 different functions or more than 2 functions that accomplish 2 different tasks, and how they can use, how we can do that, how we can make a functions that can do a task here, and later on we are use it in different places to do different tasks. This is actually depends on the argument, the input for the data. And these functions, it is with the same name. We are going to differentiate between this and there is something called overloading. There is overloading. In overloading, it is more than one functions that do different tasks with the same name. يعني لو دارنا ترجم يقول التحميل الزائد للدوال. الواحد بيفتكر انه التحميل الزائد للدوال انه والله الدالة دي تعمل لنا شغل اكتر من شغلها or something like that. No. Actually, in the overloading, we are speaking about only one function with the same name that can do different things in different places, depending on the arguments which is passed to the function. يعني أنا ممكن أعمل function to display an area of a triangle أسميها area. إذا مررت ليها معطيات معينة تحسب لي مساحة التراينجل. وبرضه يكون عندي فانكشن اسمها area، والفانكشن اللي اسمها area هي ممكن تطبع لي أنا مساحة بتاعت حاجة تانية depending على الارجيومنتس أنا بمرر عليها and so on. This is very common in polymorphism to use overloading. Actually, the function in the polymorphism, it is redefined. Actually, the function is redefined in another place, in another class, to do different job, but it is still keep with the name. يعني زي ما قلنا هي اسمها area متعمل لنا تحسب لنا مساحة بتاعت دائرة بتاعت triangle بتاعت، لكن على حسب الارجيومنت اللي احنا بنمرر عليها. طيب نحن عايزين نتكلم في السكشن ده عن الجافا، لانه احنا هنقوم نطبق كل الكلام اللي قلناه ده بالجافا. نحن عشان نقوم ندرس الجافا نحن محتاجين actually to know why we are selecting Java in this course. Actually, Java with so many utilities, as I said, there are so many advantages provided by Java. Actually, Java, for example, it is provides only one platform, and you can develop a code here and you can run it in different or in another platform. This is very important. Also, the code can be run within a web browser, or you can run it online, or you can run it in the cell phone. So there are so many advantages of Java. For example, you are developing the code here in the editor, and then when you compile it, it is generate what we call it binary file, and this binary file it is going to be used in different platforms. This is the main idea of Java. For example, if you see here, when we develop the program in the black box, when we are developing the program here, actually compiled, and then we can use it in different platforms like here Mac operating system or Solaris or Windows 32 or Win32. This is very important, that make Java very important. Java technology, there are so many Java or technologies of Java, there are so many, depends on our needs. For example, development tools compiling, and these are Java C running, it is Java documenting, Java documents, applications programming interface, and so on. There are so many types of Java technologies. Java program, in the Java program, actually the general shape of the Java program, it is actually the class. يعني البرنامج في لغة الجافا هو actually عبارة عن class. يعني يكفي انه نحن بنتكلم، وطبعا دي ميزة بتميزها من السي بلس بلس. يعني البرنامج في السي بلس بلس هو ما عبارة عن class. نو نحن السي بلس بلس بتزوده، ممكن نحن we can develop class، لكن actually the program in C++ function, it is a function اسمها main. أما إحنا عندنا هنا في الجافا actually the first step is to create class. The program itself, it is a class. The program is composed of the classes, the main class, and you can define another classes and methods, as we said, to deal with the components of the classes. So you can create everything yourself. You are going to create it by yourself or using the libraries. لأنه إحنا الكلاس إحنا عندنا الفانكشنز إما إنها تكون ready functions that's provided by the manufacturers so as to facilitate the programmer's life. يعني هم بيقوموا بيعملوا they are actually defining such kind of functions. يعني هم مشوا ولقوا إنه والله قالوا نحن قمنا نساعد المبرمجين ديل في كمية من الفانكشنز مؤكد انه الناس بتحتاج لها زي الدوال الحسابية او بتاعت الرياضيات، قاموا هم عملوها كله، عملوا لها كودينج وخدتوها موجودة عندهم، وانت ممكن تستخدمها بسهولة شديد. انت ما عليك الا انك انت تضمن او تعمل لها امبورت، تضمن الملف اللي هي موجودة فيه، اللايبرري الموجودة فيه، وتستخدم الفانكشن اللي انت عايزها. مهم جدا انه نحن نعرف انه الفانكشن هي موجودة وين. اهم حاجة نعرف انها هي موجودة في اي لايبرري، والسبيلنج الصحيح لاسم الفانكشن، وعدد الارجمنت اللي احنا اللي هي بتقبلها، وترتيبهم. دي الحاجات الاساسيه في انه احنا اذا عايزين نستخدم ready functions that's provided by the manufacturers. Again, if we are speaking about ready functions that's provided by the manufacturers, the first things, it is very important to know the file or the library which contain these functions, so as to import it to our program. It is very important. Then it is also important very much to know the right spelling, how this function is going to be write it down, because if you are not sure about the right spelling of these functions, there will be a syntax error. Next, you have to know the arguments type, order, numbers. الفانكشن بتاعتنا دي عندها كم input، الارجمنتس اللي انا بمررها ليها عددهم كم، نوعهم شنو، ترتيبهم شنو. This is very important. Or this is one types of functions that it is ready there. Sometimes you have very special needs. يعني sometimes there is a special need. Very special needs, you need to develop your own function. Developing functions by yourself, we call it user-defined functions, and we are going to speak about it, how we can define functions by ourselves. Also in Java, as I said, you can run it in any platform. We can download it this Java from this website, and actually there are different versions of Java, but there is no big difference between them. It is just like a facilities. If you are developing functions by the old versions, you can run it in the very advanced one, and there is no any problem about this. Java programs, binding Java programs created a new file. Actually, when you are writing a code, you are creating what we call it the source file, the source code, which you are actually using the language statements, or you are using the language that language, what we call it syntax, how we can use this, how we can arrange these variables and so on. What we call it, these are from language facilities. For sure there is something used in C++, it is not valid to use it in Java. So this language, it is provided such kind of utilities with such kind of constraints. You are going to use it, you are going to write your code. These codes actually, it is a description to solve a specific problem. يعني احنا لو دارين نكتب لنا برنامج يجمع لنا عددين، يبقى احنا عندنا مشكله بتاعت الحصول على ناتج جمع عددين. يبقى انه انا لما اكتب برنامج يجمع لي عددين هو عباره عن توصيف لطريقه حل جمع العددين عشان انا اتحصل على الاجابه السليمه. Okay, what's next? Then this file is going to be compiled. Why compiling this file? Because actually the computer is not going to understand a high language. We know that the computer, it is only understand a very low level language, which is zeros and one, binary numbers. This is by the compiler, it's going to be transferred, and then these binary files is going to be executed so as to generate the solutions as we want. We need to differentiate between Java applications and applets. Applications, it is normally that's run in the standing computers, it is normal, there is no problem. What about the applets? Applets, these are applications, these are programs that can be run normally or stored, or we can deal with it remotely. A program run in another machine, we are going to execute it from here. This is what we call it applets. Applications, it is with us here. We are going to execute it in our computer. We are going to get the result from our computers, and there is no problem. While applets, it is the computers stored in another computer. We can execute it from our program remotely. Then here there is such kind of security aspects we need to speak about it. Applets actually read or write from or to the computer's file system. That means applets cannot read from the computer file system. Why? Because if we can do this, it is going to harm our computer. There will be such kind of damage in our computer. Run the program on the user computer. Actually, the program is going to run in your user computer. Establish a connections between the user computer and any other computer. It's provide a connections between the computer which we are run or used by the user and any other computer except the server where the applet is stored. That means there is no direct connections between the applet's computer and our computer. Java doesn't support point. Programmers cannot access the memory directly. You cannot access the memory directly because in C++ there is a pointers. We can declare pointers, and pointers actually it is pointing to the memory address. So we can deal exactly with the memory address, while Java no. This is, although there are so many advantages, that these techniques provide such kind of advantage in the C++, while here in Java there is no pointers. Then since there is no pointers, that means there is no direct access between the code and the hardware or the RAM. Then it is such kind of security. It is a security. The memory management, it is in Java, it is automatically. It is going to take place automatically by JVM, not like C++ and C#. Here, if you need to make memory management, as we said, there is so many techniques used in the C++ for managing the memory or making dynamically. We use new, delete, and this such kind of pointers provided in the C++, while here no, there is no this pointer, and if we use new, as we can see, it's going to be for another reason. This is just like an example from for the Java program. This Java program, if you noticed here in these sections, actually this is the public class welcome applet extended. No, this is extended. Actually, it is such kind of inheritance. We are going to see it later on. Let's see. Actually, here implement allow us to use predefined class. This is predefined class. It is actually provided by the manufacturers. It's provided by the manufacturer. And this is here for inheritance. It come to solve the problem for extended. That means extend allows us to inherit the capabilities of the class chaplet. What this paint methods, it is a method granted by the calls in the apples. It is just like a function. And actually the two draw strings statements simulate a new line. This is just to simulate, to give a new line. If you notice the output here, welcome to, it is not continued. It is it's not in Java program. It is in the new line. So these values actually to display new line. Yes, this is to draw line. The function draw line. It is drawing lines to give x and y axes so as to draw lines. As we can see here, 2 lines is drawn. Before to speak about this, let's stop here. Thank you very much.